Hello, everyone in Green Stream. My name is Edgardo Gonzalez, and this face on my side, you already know, Cheri Honkala, and we're here to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on in the last few months here in Philadelphia and the craziness of this state. So, Cheri?
Yeah, I just want to say hello to everybody in Green Stream today. Hopefully, if you have questions or comments, you can send them. And we're going to tell you a little bit about what's happening here in Philadelphia.
Well, first of all, I think we should go, how do we get here? Some of you know, Cheri ran for state rep in the 197th district of Pennsylvania, which is one of the poorest districts on the whole state. And to make a long story short, basically, the day of the elections, the same day, like as soon as the polls open, we start getting phone calls or things going on in the polls, and eventually it was so bad that all this ended up in a lawsuit against a group of Democrats, group of Republicans, and Greens get together and sue federal court about violations or civil rights and voting right and everything in the book, because all the fraud and was so obviously that we decided to go to and do something about it. So right now, also we were kind of surprised when we found out that also the district attorney and Attorney General was doing their own investigation on fraud, because they got so many calls and so many complaints about people not being allowed to vote and all this other things that were happening in the polling places on the special election day, that they did their own investigation besides our lawsuit. It's been a long road. We've been still dealing with this. Finally, some people were indicted like a month or so ago, and they're going to court on next week to let's see where all these take us. Want to add something else?
Yeah, so we're hoping that folks that are out there will pay attention. We'll either post something on Facebook or send it out by Twitter. Or if you're in the Philadelphia area, you might just want to go down to the courtroom. Like Edgardo said, there's been 4 indictments so far. There'll probably be many more. People that just, blatantly participated in election fraud. And so it's going to be a real test to see if they're actually found guilty. The trial is marked must be heard on Monday the 22nd. So that's a very important thing for us. It's also going to be very interesting because we have a new district attorney here that's supposed to be a progressive district attorney and supposed to be about protecting people's civil rights, and certainly the right to vote and to choose who you want for elected office. I'm hoping that is one of the priorities here as well.
A little bit of history of the 197. This is majority Latino district. As before, one of the poorest in the whole state, or the poorest in the whole state, and the area have nothing on it. It's defenseless. There's no CDCs. There's no any social services. Nothing in this district, especially the area where our headquarters are located. You'll find out that they're going to do a marijuana lab or something around here also. So that's the way they treat us, the citizens of this district. Also, the Democrats hold this forever, and they pick and choose whoever they want to run on the district. Right now, as we speak, we're not sure who the state rep is. And there's how many candidates? Like 4 or 5 candidates?
Something like that.
Something like that, and they all are the same people. That one election is your friend, one election is your enemy, and corrupt as they come, and they all have history together, and there's plenty of things that they had done in the past. Keep them just keep them like that, keep them happening. They're all party insiders. They do party dirty work, and people are like left. It's only left hanging by the Democrats. Right now, this election is a very low turnout district in elections, and this was a special election, so we were expecting even less people to vote. When we saw the numbers that they say that that they voted, it was a ridiculous amount of the amount of votes that they say they got, and very similar to to the previous state rep, which, by the way, the problem with that 197 is like the one state rep was indicted for fraud because they have a ghost employee. The one that came after him, she was indicted also because she got a case of was a federal case of
Yes.
check fraud or something.
Yes.
Then they pick up another one that's well known in the community and don't have the best reputation, that they was not part of the battle because he don't live in the district, and he was claiming he had just a house and an address, and he said that he be living there. They proved that the bills of utility bills doesn't represent like nobody was living in that house, and neighbors was testified they never seen him there. And the one who they picked at the end, they forced to pick, he had his share of scandals also. And now, next, right now, it's time for re-election, and the same players are now, they were friends and electing him. Now they're enemies, and they're picking up somebody else to run against the one that are there right now.
And so in the meantime, we're having to sit here and watch this district continue to rise in terms of poverty, the opiate crisis. The governor here has, instituted a state of emergency because of the opiate crisis. And then we have, like Edgardo said earlier, housing issues, no employment, none of those things. And they're not going to go away as long as we continue to have corrupt politicians and the kind of political machine that we have here that really isn't about changing and uplifting the district in the 197. So although we have this we're watching to see if these 4 people that have been indicted, one person is still in jail to this day. Monday we'll find out if the city and the state are going to take this thing seriously or not, and then we're still waiting to hear from the federal judge as well on this case.
Yes, there's a lot of backstories to what's happening. To the story of the 197, because then we will have to enter in who was the city commissioner, who was in charge of the voting machines. It was one family who are being indicted also, and they're waiting for sentencing. And they are the ones who call the shot. They are party insiders that decide, who's going to run, and they, do whatever the chairman of the party tells them to do, which, by the way, is also been investigating by the feds. Who else was? The DA is in jail right now. The Attorney General was also indicted, and went to jail. She went to jail, and so as you can see, it's a big corrupt family who is calling the shots in our district and our city. So we are hoping that our case will be seen, and we'll send an sample to all the people involved that you need to respect the will of the people. Nobody can, this vote is sacred, and you have the right to decide who's going to be representing you. No some group of people, some back room somewhere, decided, oh, you're the one going to run, you're going to win, and we figured out how a way to do it. So that's what we're hoping for, and we're gonna push forward. We're not gonna give up till justice is done.
Yeah, and it's really important that anybody that is interested in election integrity understands that it's not enough just to go out and run campaigns. You clearly have to have people on the inside where the voting booth is. Because the corruption is real in this country, especially in poor communities, yes. And that's how they maintain power. So we really have to be about the business of, going forward, doing the voter education registration and ensuring that all the polls have people that represent our interests on the inside, not just the outside, the inside of the polls.
Yes, that's why we, need to develop infrastructure on the ground, world leaders, community people, judges of elections, people who work in the polls, so we can, that the vote can be protected. Because this is not going to stop till we stop it. Democrat ain't going to do it, Republican ain't going to do it, got to be us that do this. So we'll next week, January 22nd, is the other the day of the court. So we'll see what happened, and we're gonna keep on getting everybody informed or what's going on. I'm already getting calls from some friends of mine from the press asking me what's going to happen. If I know what's going to happen, I tell anybody out. We'll be contacting everyone and to out the outcome of this. The press is, especially the Latino press, is keeping an eye on this.
And it also, I think it's really important to watch the nonprofit industrial complex because there's so much soft money that goes around. And different organizations, you think that they're just involved in different social justice issues. They're actually serving as troops for different political parties' interests. And especially the ones that are bankrolled by corporations. So it's really important that we're about the business of following the money. And I think a good example of that as well is we're building the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign and preparing for the 50th anniversary of King's Poor People's March from Kensington to Washington, D.C. And, there's different folks that are out there that are saying that they're the new Poor People's Campaign and they represent various different interests. And the real deal is that if we don't support a social movement out there that's about ending poverty and hunger and homelessness, we want to encourage people. We're not going to let the folks in the 197 just die here. We're taking up the banner where Dr. Martin Luther King left off. We're building the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign. We're going to march from Kensington to Washington, D.C. starting on June 2nd. We want to encourage people from around the country to get involved. We're going to lift up our right to be able to vote, to decide who we want to vote for. We want to talk about all the horrible things that are happening in our country right now. And once we get to Washington, D.C., we'll reset up Resurrection City. It's really important that people understand that it's time for us to follow the money. Many of these other kinds of entities that are saying that they represent different social justice issues, it's important, again, that we follow the money.
Right now, the state of Pennsylvania, the governor has declared a state of emergency because of the opioid crisis. The crisis has been there forever. This is nothing new. The difference is that it used to be brown people and black people. Now you're starting to see suburban kids in the streets of Philadelphia and the lights asking for money. So now it's a crisis. Now the police say it's a crisis, the governor says it's a crisis. What's going to happen? Money is going to come from somewhere to deal with the crisis. So I'm pretty sure people are already lining up to take a chunk of that money that how come, all this industry that they don't really care much about people's health. They just care about the money. So now they're already groups aligning, saying they are like the new people,
Poor People's Movement.
the new rehab, whatever. Here in Philadelphia, it's a big business. Like the drug rehab, highway houses, it's big business. It's a lot of money. And they're bringing people even from Puerto Rico. They're bringing addicts from Puerto Rico and housing them in a room, giving them like hot dogs and water, and taking the little money that they have. Some they have food stamp, taking the food stamp. They take the IDs and they sell them. So there's a whole big industry behind that, and it's going to get bigger. It's going to get more corrupted, and now it's going to be like legal because it's being supported by foundation, government, all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's really important to support folks that are out there that are doing organizing work that is independent of the two corporate-controlled political parties. And one of those is the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign. And so if people are interested in supporting our work, I want you to go to economichumanrights.org. Again, that's economichumanrights.org, and donate $20 today. Support the work of building a multiracial movement to end poverty in this country, ensuring that everybody has economic, social, and cultural rights and their civil rights. And, if you're on the East Coast on June 2nd, if you're interested in marching with us for 10 days, or even if you can't, you can sponsor somebody. But we're going to begin to tell the truth. We're going to begin to speak truth to power. And that's what these 10 days are going to be about. So don't be fooled by different folks that are stepping forward and calling themselves, we're this movement or that movement. It's time to stop looking behind the movement's name and find out where people get their dollars.
Yeah, it's like Martin Luther King Day here in Philadelphia was a big show. They put a big show together of these corporations, these people make believe they're doing something or they're going to do something. And actually, none of the groups that are really doing the work they were invited, but they were not allowed to speak, do any kind of promotion, any kind of information. You're supposed to go there and stand there looking pretty, and that was it. Them themselves, who were in charge of the industrial complex, they were the ones who were calling the shots, and the ones that were allowed to speak and to tell what they were supposedly been doing. So even to that level, he has raised the whole corruption in all this.
And if King was alive today, King would be lifting up, especially the crisis in Puerto Rico. How can that not be one of the number one issues that we're talking about right now, where like half the island still doesn't have access to water, still doesn't have access to electric, bodies are piling up, and as a government, we aren't doing anything about it. We could easily be doing water drops and food drops with our National Guard, but we're not doing those kinds of things. And so this march intends to call attention to the ills that are happening in this country and to ensure that we begin to put a face on the people that are responsible for the things that we're facing.
Yeah. So, I guess people would like to know a little bit more what we are planning to do in the future. So besides, the march and for people. So right now we are waiting to see what's going to happen with all this, the federal court cases and how many people more got indicted. We might end up with no state rep or state rep that goes right direct to jail. So we had no idea who's going to be the candidate because all these people they all of them were caught with the hands in the cookie jar. So we'll know when things start unfolding. When you're here, the decision is going to do another run for for the district. A lot of people are asking, a lot of people are waiting, a lot of people are saying yes, do it. So we're also going to need your support for that. So also you can reach out to Cheri197 com, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To you want to donate, to support another run. So or just try, tell us your opinion. We should do it again. But we're gonna need everybody's help the same way that you help us in the first time we tried. I think the sport is gonna be very important, and they need to be a solution. We cannot take this. The 197 cannot take this anymore.
No, and I think that we have to follow in the tradition of like Fannie Lou Hamer, right? Or Annie Smart, who was involved in, both of them were involved in anti-poverty things, and out of necessity, they had to get involved in electoral politics. And right now, with the corruption that's happening here, something has to be done. We're hoping that all of you will stand by and realize that while all the distractions happening in this country, that we really need to be talking about the fact that in one of the poorest districts in the state of Pennsylvania, there's been 4 indictments that have been handed down, and come Monday the 22nd, we'll find out what they intend to do.
How many and how many state reps in jail, one after the other one?
Yes, and we've got lots that are waiting. Several other Democrats in this district that are now waiting to get their sentencing about when they're going to prison.
Yeah. So if we don't do nothing about it, it's gonna keep on happening. Keep on happening. The district, for a lot of people, this district just there's nothing here. They say, oh, I can do whatever with them. They don't care. They're gonna vote whichever way we tell them, they're not gonna vote, or we pay them $25 and they'll vote. All that kind of stuff. People, it's a very poor district. So people are in great need of money, a job. People want to work. They are not, some that are keeping a record. That a lot of people coming out of jail. They need their housing. They need, and they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. So they're being used, exploited. They're expendable. So, but our idea is like put a stop to that. So we will not stop till it's done.
No, we won't. And we need your help in order to make this stuff happen. So we really want to encourage everybody to get involved. There's a role for every single person in this movement. And we know that, political parties come alive in this country when they attach themselves to movements, and especially when they attach themselves to movements that are independent of the 2 corporate-controlled political parties that are trying to kill us.
Yeah. You want to say anything about the movie? You want to know a little bit about the district, you should watch the movie.
And we want to encourage folks, my older son, Mark Webber, if you Google actor Mark Webber, put together a film called Flesh and Blood, and you can bring a tug screening to your community, and a certain percentage of those resources will go back to our work here. But they show the 197,
Mm-hmm.
They show the difficult issues that we're having to address and deal with here. And we just had a wonderful showing in Albany yesterday, where they sold out. And if people are interested, again, they can just, Google actor Mark Webber, and you can go to
website,
the Flesh and Blood website, and have a tug screening in your local theater in your part of the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, or you can create like colleges, groups, or do some kind of venue that allows you to do it, and it will be a way to fundraise funds for a fight. Mm-hmm. And also you have a glimpse of what the 197 looked like, because it was all filmed location here in the district. If you ever, any of you, the watchers in Philadelphia, I'm familiar with the area, you will recognize it immediately. As soon as the movie starts, you will recognize, those places in show on the movie. But we encourage people to please put together something to support, watch the movie and support this movement.
So don't be discouraged. We're being extremely hopeful that on Monday we're finally going to begin to hear from judges that find people guilty of corruption, and that people, and if even if they don't, like Edgardo said, we're not going to stop. We're going to ensure that the truth is told, that people actually see the videotapes, the photographs, and hear the testimony of people who on March 21st in 2017 witnessed the theft of my election.
Yes. So, how much more time we have?
I think we're almost done. I don't know.
So we say bye? Okay, so we want to thank everybody for watching, and make sure you have remember the economichumanright.org, cheri197.com. I'm fresh and blood, so you want to know more information, you want to send us a note, you want to send us a check, we take whatever to support this movement. So thank you again for this opportunity to address you, and we'll see you soon. We're gonna keep you informed.
We are the 197,
yes.
And you can support us and help lift up this entire community.
Yes, and
thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching, and go Eagles. Okay?